Hello and welcome to another Smaulgld live stream. Today is Sunday, September 16th, 2018. Tonight we're going to talk about why stable coins are important to Bitcoin. And first we're going to describe what they are, what problems they propose to solve, and what the problems that they pose in and of themselves. First, let's take a look at gold and silver. Trading tonight is flat. Silver at 1403, neither up nor down. Gold at 1193. We're going to release at the end of this video. I was uploading the week in review in case you missed a top gold, silver, and crypto story. So please remember to check that out when you sign off of this podcast. For those of you who are subscribed to Smaulgld.com, you'll get a notification and you'll get the blog post that goes with it with all of the relevant tweets and commentary. So please remember to subscribe to Smaulgld.com. Now on the cryptocurrencies, we are at 65.26. Bitcoin is up about 0.25% over the last 24 hours. Bitcoin Cash finally caught a bid to 461. Ethereum at 223, up about 1%, and Litecoin at 57.75, up 2.75. So tonight's topic is why are stablecoins important to Bitcoin. You know, I still get people. I don't understand how. I guess I can understand. They believe a lot of the stories that they hear. This whole, I'm not going to have anything to do with cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are all going to zero. I'm going to stand by. It's very inconceivable to me. I don't like them. There's a lot of things I don't like in the world, but ignoring them or insisting that they don't exist or won't exist isn't going to change the fact. I've been following cryptocurrencies and I was offended by them when they first came out. When I first learned of them in 2012-13, I wrote a lot about them, but the amount of money and time and effort that's been poured into these things, and I think the vice president of one of the EU people said they're not going away. I mean, they're not going to be uninvented. They're here to stay. They're already part of the banking system, the trading systems. All the major institutions are involved with them in some way or another, or planning to get involved. Ignoring them and insisting gold is money, period, silver is money, period. It's not going to change anything. I've come to that conclusion long ago. Horses have been transportation for 5,000 years, period. Will always be transportation. Not necessarily. Does gold have properties of money? Sure. Silver? Sure. Are they superior in many respects? Of course they are. But the world is a digital place. So when you talk about digital illusions, and the world is a digital illusion today. There's not much you can do about it. Most of what you do is digital. Even when you buy silver online, you're doing it digitally. You're using the internet. You're sending digits across the screen, and then they send you the silver. They send you the gold. It's very ludicrous to think that you're just going to live in a world of silver and gold. The world doesn't live that way. It's not going in that direction. It's not going in that direction at all. And there's no such thing as all cryptocurrencies going to zero. All cryptocurrencies, there's so many different ones. It's ignorant to say all of them are going to zero. You don't know. That's like saying all stocks are going to zero. Sure, you could say the world is going to end and everything is going to zero. Sure, you can say that. But to say all cryptocurrencies are going to zero belies any understanding of anything, really. Because all a cryptocurrency can be would be a digital representation of an interest in a company. Why would that have to go to zero? No more than any stock would have to go to zero if it didn't do well. So the reason I cover them has nothing to do with lack of integrity or some of this other nonsense I've heard, or abandoning gold and silver. No, it's a reality of understanding the world and finances of what's going on right now, and cryptocurrencies are part of it. Ignoring it, making proclamations, making statements about why I'm against them isn't going to do you, me, or anyone any good. There's a lot of things in the world that I don't like in the direction in which they're going. But that doesn't mean I don't analyze them, doesn't mean I don't cover them. Anyway, that's how I look at things. If you like that approach, continue to watch. If you think that all you should do is promote gold and silver, you can go to one of those channels and you can live in a bubble that everything is about gold and silver. You'll see one day, and you can listen to all the pump stories. Now, by the same token, I don't believe in all this other nonsense that Bitcoin is going to take over the world and change the world. Again, I try to analyze all of this stuff with a level head and see where it's going. In fact, I don't think Bitcoin's going to take over the world. I actually think it's just going to be absorbed, subsumed, at least initially, into the entire banking system. And we're going to talk about that next week, about payment systems and so on. Tonight, we're just going to focus specifically on stable coins and what they are, for those of you who might be interested in what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. All right, one of the issues that proponents and detractors of Bitcoin and Litecoin and any cryptocurrency is, how can you even think that they're going to be some type of usable currency when the price is constantly going up? Down, it goes 50% up in a year, down in a year, 1,500%. You can't have a stable transaction of commerce if that's the case. Now, what they have done, payment processors will take your Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever it is, and they will try to run it through their own hedging system. They'll accept it, and then they'll pass on the fiat currency to the merchant. And in a sense, the merchant can say they're accepting Bitcoin when really they're not. Now, the issues that payment processors have is that they have to come up with a proper way so that they're not stuck holding on to a Bitcoin. They have to figure out ways of hedging. They have to figure out ways of disposing of the Bitcoin or holding it. And that does pose a lot of problems. Now, the futures market does help in a way because you can hedge your Bitcoin, but it's not open 24/7. So you really can't count on that for your hedging mechanisms. So one of the things they've come up with, and the idea is sound, but the execution has not been. One of them is to have what's called a stable coin in the form of a currency called Tether. Now, Tether supposedly is a cryptocurrency that's backed by the dollar. So therefore, if the dollar is the stable unit of account in the world, then, and if cryptocurrencies are, in a sense, dependent upon, I mean, you can't really spend your cryptocurrencies directly in most instances. They have to be converted into fiat. Just like your gold has to be, your silver has to be converted into fiat currency before you can buy anything. So even cryptocurrencies aren't currencies. They're somewhat digital assets that have to then be converted into fiat. Now, the difference is gold and silver don't move 10 and 12% a day in either direction. And part of that is because they're established asset classes, and you have futures that the price is basically fixed or set on the COMEX through that type of trading, where you've got 25 commercials. Now they go back and forth, and they have position limits and price collars. So gold and silver are never going to move 15, 20, 30% in a day, whereas cryptocurrencies can do that 3 times a week. So one of the ideas they've had and they use, and it's somewhat suspect, is Tether, which is they say, well, look, when you want to sell your Bitcoin or Litecoin, rather than converting into fiat, we'll convert it into this dollar-based Tether. Now, the issue with Tether is, while the dollar may be a stable currency, who the hell trusts a thing called Tether, where supposedly it's a cryptocurrency that's based on a fiat currency, and then it's backed by fiat currency that's supposedly in a bank, which of course it isn't, because banks are fractional reserve. So if you have $1 billion worth of Tether, supposedly backed by $1 billion worth of dollars in a bank, there's not $1 billion in that bank. No way, no how, because they don't keep all that cash there. But the idea is, if you already trust the fiat currency system and you trust fractional reserve banking, well, then you might as well trust a Tether, which is backed by this fiat currency fractional reserve banking system. Now, the other issue with Tether is, yes, you can convert it 24/7 from your Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum, whatever you happen to have, But people don't trust the fact that this Tether thing has been properly, that there really is a bank account that is properly audited. But the idea is an interesting one, not just the dollar backed, but the concept of a stable coin where you can convert your cryptocurrency into another cryptocurrency that's stable, that's not going to move up and down like the one you just sold or you just bought, like Bitcoin. It's not going to go from 6,500 to 6,000 or 6,000, 8,000 in a few days. It's going to stay around the price of the dollar, which again, the foreign currencies, especially the dollar, even though the dollar may skyrocket 5 or 7% over the course of 6 months, it really is pretty stable and has been. So that's the idea of that type of stable coin, that it's dollar based. Now the problem with Tether, as we mentioned, it's not trusted, although it is trusted in the sense that there are plenty of people who use it as a way of, when they sell their coins, they don't switch into fiat, they switch into Tether. Now Tether, I view, is similar to Mt. Gox. Just like Mt. Gox was the first large crypto trading platform. Eventually they went out of business, it wasn't run properly. And, you know, the same may happen to Tether, may not. But the interesting development now, before we get into other types of stable coins, is a thing called Gemini Dollar. Now, the interesting thing about Gemini Dollar, it's those Winklevoss twins, and they have a trading platform, Gemini. It's in the United States. They've been trying to get a Bitcoin ETF. It'll probably get the designation. They'll probably apply for SEC registration for a alternative trading platform. They already have a BIT license in New York City. So they're doing all the proper things to get regulated. And this goes totally counter to the whole anarchy of decentralized Bitcoin and so on. But that's where the big money is not in the libertarian anarcho-capitalism, but it's in this regulated pre-existing banking system that has payment systems worth billions, trading worth trillions, and so on. So what they've done is they have created Gemini Dollar. Now Gemini Dollar is basically a mirror of Tether. However, this one is regulated. This one supposedly has FDIC. So in a sense, it's a more stable coin. Instead of it being Tether, it's got the basis that it has U.S. backing. But again, it still has the issue that it's FDIC insured, whatever that means. And it's still a dollar based on a dollar in the account of a bank that supposedly has the dollars there, when we know that it doesn't because it's fractional reserve. And then, of course, the bank may not be solvent, and then maybe the FDIC isn't solvent. So where really are you? But that's already true with the current financial system. Anything you buy in dollars, you could have that problem with the banks going under. But the interesting thing is, the cryptocurrencies are supposed to be a hedge outside the banking system, and I don't have to worry about all this. But as you can see, there's a lot of efforts and a lot of money being put into trying to drag the cryptocurrencies into the banking system. And one of the ways is to have these stable coins to enable transactions 24/7, so that people can transact and not have to worry about the volatility in the underlying coin that they're transacting in. Now, some of these stable coins, dollar back, they may require or have crypto reserves in order to back up the dollar based of the currency. But an even more interesting stable coin would be one, and it's more in line with the idea of not being dollar based or based on the system, is an actual, this is an odd concept, and there's a white paper on it, and there's $133 million invested in this, is a thing called Basis. And it's an algorithmically designed coin that's designed to adjust supply and demand and keep the coin price at a stable price. So now you're not dollar based, you don't have to dollar bank account, you don't have to do anything other than have this token, so that when the demand is rising, this blockchain creates more basis, and then it's expanded to bring the basis price down. And then when demand is falling, the blockchain buys back the basis, and then the contracted supply is designed to restore the basis price. And this is all based on a protocol designed to expand and contract just the way central banks do, but only they do it through human decision. This would be done via blockchain algorithmically, and then the stable coin or the basis would keep its base price. Now you don't have to worry about the banking system. You don't have to worry about FDI insurance. You don't have to worry about the value of the dollar. It doesn't have to be backed by anything to back up the issues that the dollar might have, or whatever stable or presumed stable fiat currency you might use to create your stable coin. Now that, in a sense, would create the problem with that issue is who's going to trust a stable coin. But my argument is, and this is how I got past all this, is who's already going to trust that Bitcoin is worth anything or that Litecoin is worth anything? And you may shake your head and say, exactly. Well, exactly. It's what you and I think has nothing to do with it. Bitcoin is worth $6,600, and that's what you can get for it. You can get $6,600. And if you can convince people that Bitcoin is worth $6,600, they've already have $133 million invested in this basis coin, which is designed. I mean, you really are getting into a digital illusion upon digital illusion here, but that's the way the world is going. The world is digital, from your music to your videos, basically everything you do. This is just advanced digitization. You may not like it. It may be frightening, but this is what's going on here, and this is where real money is going into. Stuff like this basis coin. And I'm looking at the investors here. You got Andreessen Horowitz, Hex Capital, Slow Ventures, Stanley Druckenmiller. He was a big gold investor, Druckenmiller, yep. Bain Capital. This is no small big deal. They believe in this stuff. Whether you believe in it or not is irrelevant. This is where the money is headed. Now again, you can go off chain and you can churn your own butter and you can pretend you're going to barter. I don't know anybody who's doing that. Everyone who's on YouTube, you're not off chain. You're on YouTube. You're in front of your computer. You're on your cell phone yelling and screaming about digitization and progress while you're on a digitization and progressive machine that allows you to have these opinions and to display them digitally. So I've already gotten over the whole churning your own butter and being off grid and milking your own cows and having, I try to do that stuff, but there's no way I could survive right now the way it is, purely off of the fruits of my own labor. I'm tied into the grid. I'm not saying it's ideal, but that is what it is, and that's, I guarantee you, 95% of the people listening here, if they actually did a self-reflection, you may have prep supplies, you may have ammunition, but you probably have no way to feed yourself guaranteed for the next year other than through supplies. And the idea here is the world isn't heading in that direction. I'm all in favor of prepping. There's nothing wrong with being prepared. There's nothing wrong with, in fact, it's smart to understand that this whole grid, this whole digital stuff can come crashing down. You look at Puerto Rico, electricity can go out, solar flares. Absolutely. But the world is living this way. And in fact, unless the electricity and the grids and all this stuff go down for prolonged periods of time, this is where it's going to go. Now, if we do have a calamity, we do have a collapse, then all the prepping you've done, that's great. It's good that you have supplies, you may have barter silver, that's all fine. But to deny that the world is heading in this direction, subject to, the only thing that's going to stop it is some type of physical collapse. Even a financial collapse isn't going to stop this, because they'll build it up on this basis. They will definitely build it up on a digital basis. They will not build it up on this physical base. I guarantee you that, unless there is no ability to have internet, no ability to have electricity. Well, then of course they got to do something else, and then it's not they have to do anything. Then it's up to local communities to do whatever they have to do, and you basically have to start over. Now, all that's possible. I'm not banking on it. I'm prepared if it does happen. Probably not as much as I should be, but what I'm talking about here, all this digital stuff, that is the way the world is headed, whether you like it or not. All right, so that's the other type of stable coin is basis. And as I say, there's a lot of money behind just that one coin. And it's not someone on a YouTube channel pumping and dumping stuff. This is an actual thing that they think will be able to bring the cryptocurrencies into the payment system so they can make fortunes. A lot of fortunes are being made and will be made in Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, all other tokens you never heard of, despite the fact that they've come down 50-80%. You have to remember where they came from. They're like $40. Bitcoin is like $40 5 years ago. So it went to $18,000, $19,000. Now it's $6,600. They're not going anywhere. It's not investment advice to buy this stuff. It's just an observation that this stuff is where capital and, for want of a better word, intellectual capital, financial capital, intellectual capital is headed. They're trying to solve problems maybe that don't need to be solved, but basis, this token, highlights what they're trying to do. They're trying to make money off of digitizing things and creating what the central banks can't create on their own because it's human judgment, having things algorithmically determined, and then, you know, they'll assign a value to things on that basis. Again, I don't like the idea that there's not the human element of, I like the idea of bargains and one-on-one negotiations. But with the blockchain and all this stuff happens, a lot of this stuff is all automatic. It's not yet artificial intelligence. But to shove your nose at it and act like it's not going to be there and you're going to prove it by buying gold and silver, I don't know. I may make you feel better, but it's not going to change anything. Okay, I think that's it on stable coins. Let's see if we have any comments or questions. Well, it doesn't look like... Oh, there they are. Okay. Jeffrey Gotts. Yes, Gemini just launched a new stablecoin. That was launched September 10th, and it's based on $1. Yes, and Gemini is the Winklevoss twins. All right. Yeah, and that stablecoin, to me, it's like Tether is the Mount Gox of stablecoins. And maybe it's not. Maybe there will never be a problem with Tether, but there's a lot of issues around it. There seems to have been. But it looks like the Gemini dollar coin, as far as stable coins backed by the dollar, is probably going to have more trust, given that it's regulated in the United States. But then supposedly, but there's people who don't trust Tether. All right. Spoke goes. Figures that when I can be here live to talk would end up crypto that I don't care anything about. And that's, you know, I don't really care about it either. But there's certain things that you have to care about, and this is big stuff. I obviously am interested in gold and silver. And you can go back, because there's a lot of good content the last week, all gold and silver. So please feel free to drop off of this and go check out the gold and silver videos that I've done with good participation on. But then also come back, and it doesn't do you any good to calculate your ignorance about this stuff and say, I don't care about it, and just expect it to go away. Unless, I mean, if you can, I mean, everyone should lead their life the way they want. If they don't want to hear about certain things, some people say it's putting your head in the sand, and some people just say it's emotionally healthy. I don't want to deal with stuff that I don't want to deal with. So that's fine too. I've decided I want to deal with cryptocurrencies. I want to understand them. I want to analyze them. I don't just want to say I'm against them and they're all going to zero, because that to me is ignorance. That's not giving an informed opinion. That's just asserting something that you hope and wish to be true. Gemini, that's right. I get it. They're twins. Yep. Stability just goes to show you how few people are actually using them to make purchases, says Dr. Medesko. That's right. And the reason for that is you have to run them through the process. But that's why a lot of money is being spent to make this happen. If they're actually being used, that would stabilize the price to a certain degree. That's true. But to speed up that process, that's why they have these stable coins and other things. Libertarianism, what? So we're not getting jetpacks. I don't get it. Dr. Medesko says libertarianism, what? So we're not getting jetpacks. I don't get it. Benzadrick, Bitcoin is mean. Bitcoin is part of Mark of Beast contest, every evil coin. Yeah, but you can say that. I'm not denying that any of it, but you remember that I would say the whole financial system is. It's all digitized. Forget even that Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies were ever created. Your digital bank account is already that. The fact that they take money out of your bank account, they can take money out of your bank account, the fact that they take money out of your paycheck, all that's digitization. This started long before cryptocurrencies came around. That's why this mark of the beast stuff, if you're going to apply that label, it's already there. It's already been there. So what I'm saying is, I'm not endorsing cryptocurrency. I'm not endorsing anything. I'm trying to understand it and then provide the analysis. Just dismissing it doesn't do me or anyone any good. I don't even know what good it does you to dismiss it. Okay, I dismiss it. Does that change anything? No. I can call it mark of the beast. Does that make it not mark of the beast? Or does it make it doesn't mean anything. So understanding it, it's just like anything. The more you understand something, the better you are able to either oppose it or profit from it. But just dismissing it, that's a foolish thing to do, I think. All right. American Supertramp. When a digital currency, the power to be, may have the ability to turn off access to those who disagree with the narrative of different political idea. That is totally correct. And that is one of the issues with a centralized grid. And with the Chinese social credit scores, they can kick you off. We're seeing it with social media. They can kick you off social media because they don't like it. So you have unperson there. But then they can go one step further. They can kick you off the financial grid. They can remove your credit card. They can take your bank account away. One thing that certain cryptocurrencies do is they allow you, because they don't know who you are, they don't care who you are, you can be on a crypto system or a decentralized internet and they can't kick you off. So in a way I look at it is, if you're on a digital battlefield, sometimes you need digital tools to confront that. The worst thing about a centralized internet, a centralized social media platform is they got you. You can't go anywhere. If they kick you off, you're done. Same thing with a centralized banking system. The difference between some cryptocurrencies and like Bitcoin is you can buy Bitcoin and they can't take it away from you. They can't tell you can't use it because there isn't a Bitcoin corporation that can come in and remove you from the blockchain. There isn't a government that can remove you from the blockchain. It's all anonymous. And when I say not, it's not that they can't find out who you are, but that's not the idea. Right now, if the government wanted to take your bank account away, they'd have no trouble doing it. None. To take you off the blockchain, it'd be very hard for them to figure out what wallets you have, and it's not even worth their time. Once something is decentralized, if you had to go and find 18 million people, you could kick 18 million people off of Facebook tomorrow. You could not kick 18 million people off the blockchain tomorrow. You couldn't do it. So that's why I say decentralized is important in a lot of this stuff. They've controlled gold as diamonds. They have decades to accumulate crypto, even the game, at least to a point. Yep. I can guarantee, says Dr. Medesco Esquire, that one group of people who know who Sakamoto is the NSA. Well, it's possible. Ray Jetpacks. Oh, here we go. At the Libertarian Convention, the question came up for debate of who would maintain the roads. The answer was the maintenance of the roads was moot because we're all going to have jetpacks. I see. All right. That's the old only government can build roads nonsense. Walden Tree, the question is who creates any currency? Yes, and through time, generally, a currency is issued by a central issuer, whether it's a government or even a private issuer. And there's one issuer, and that issuer either controls at the outset or through monetary policy controls how much of the money it's going to issue, so currency. So, like for example, the Fed or ECB, they control the currency and how much of it there's going to be through monetary policy. They raise interest rates, they lower interest rates, they buy stuff, they sell stuff. Or if we get together and we issue like our own currency, we still have to create we become the issuer and we can recall it, we can ascribe value to it. The difference with Bitcoin and Litecoin and crypto, see, cryptocurrencies are different than ICO tokens. That's what people don't understand. An ICO token basically is by buying a stock and the token goes up or down based on what the company does. Bitcoin and Litecoin are not based on anything. They just are. They're not. They don't do anything, and there's no company that's going to benefit from how well they do. They don't do anything. They get used, and they're pre-issued, pre-mined. In that they there's just a pre-existing blockchain that's been set up, and then the transactions happen on it, and people can use it. And that's all it is. There's no way they can change the amount that there's going to be or the amount that there are. They can't arbitrarily fix the price. All that you can do to change a cryptocurrency, you can create a fork and then basically try to take from that moment on what happens to another blockchain. But that's not changing. You're not really changing the original blockchain. You're just trying to take a portion of it away and see if anyone goes with you. Elliot Finesse, Smaulgld, good point. Well taken on currency being digital like Bitcoin. Well, that's what's interesting. We keep talking about going cashless. We kind of already are. I mean, it's happened like the boiling frog. I did one, I got to remember the name of it, but I talked about the dark side of cashless, and I went through all the issues that can happen when you're cashless, loss of privacy, they kick you off the system, and so on. But then I did another one called How We Got Here, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 was all about, it was like the boiling frog, how first they started taking money out of your paycheck, and then they started taking automatic payroll for taxes, and then they started with Social Security, and then they came up with Medicare, and then they started taking the big notes out of the system, and then they started digitizing your bank account and taking the silver out of the coins, and then moving people onto debit cards. So yes, it's been happening for a long time. The digitization, the idea that your money isn't your own. But go back to Mark of the Beast. Even silver coins, same thing. Give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. The value of that was, even though it was silver, supposedly real money, it was issued by Caesar. It was not, what the people had decided. It was, in a sense, a fiat decision to make the silver coin worth the silver. So you could even call that, I wouldn't. But what I'm getting at is that a lot of this control has existed for a long time. And I guess it's the point that, where is it? Walden Tree was making. The question, who controls creates any currency? Even if it's sound money. Gold standard is not all it's cracked up to be. It's run by the government. They have to fix the price of gold. If they're lying or not. Just like when you had gold in commerce. The goldsmiths, they were cheating and robbing, not having the same amount of gold that they said they had to back their certificates. So the idea that somehow the mark of the beast just appeared with cryptocurrencies means you're not paying attention, because it's existed all along. Go through history. Evil didn't come up with, didn't rear its head when cryptocurrencies were either invented or implanted into society. And I think if you focus on cryptocurrencies as a source of evil, I don't think you understand evil, because it's not just cryptocurrencies. Dr. Modesto, I agree with modern monetary theorists. You got to have the government money to pay taxes. Okay, that's one of the things, that's what Peter Schiff says, is that's why cryptocurrencies aren't valuable. But that's not true, because some states will now take cryptocurrencies. But that's the guarantee of value. You need the fiat to stay out of prison. Yeah, but if you have other items of, yes, I guess that's true. If you have other items of value, like gold or silver, they can easily be converted into the fiat, and you can pay your tithe so that you don't get in trouble. That's just the form in which they'll take it. That's the legal tender. DBC, finally tune in for the live podcast. Now you can ask questions live. All right, let's see. With cryptocurrency, says Walden Tree, we don't know. Some of us have our suspicions, though. Well, I don't think it matters who invented it, whether it was the NSA. It doesn't really matter, because it is transparent. You can see what's going on there. You can read this. You can read the white paper. You can see the blockchain. You can see what's going on there. And you can see that anyone can go in and out of there. So even if it's been set up by a controlling group, they set it up so that it can't be controlled, other than, I suppose, they could, which this is the biggest problem it is, it wouldn't be crypto anymore because they know how to crack the code, then it'd be totally useless. But in its current form, doesn't really matter who invented it. DBC772011, I think Bitcoin is in a serious downtrend. I'm staying away. I was trading Coinbase last year and got lucky, did well. Now, no thanks. Well, who knows with this stuff? I was looking at it. Let me see if I can find now. It's not worth it. Bitcoin's gone up and down. It's been in these situations before where it's gone down 50, 80% and then gone back up 1,200%, 1,800%. It goes up and down. I can't predict where it's going. What I've been saying, irrespective of price for the last 2 or 3 years, that it is a viable alternative to digital fiat currencies, mainly because digital fiat currencies can be pulled at any time. And that's what I saw when they did that with the Indian rupee. They said, well, they pulled the cash, but that's the idea, that when there's a central issuer, they can pull your currency and tell you it's not worth it anymore, you can't use it anymore, whereas they can't do that with Bitcoin. Is the world ready for crypto mugs? I got to put them on the blockchain. I'm going to make a fortune. Mug coin. Smaulgld and mug coin. The millennials don't want privacy. They want to be famous. Well, that is true. They don't want to own stuff either. I mean, they don't have records. They don't have CDs. They don't own property. They like Airbnb. They don't own cars. They go around on Lyft. I'm generalizing, or Uber. But someone was saying they want antiquing, which I was never interested in. And they said how cheap you can get all this old antique furniture. It's like, yeah, because the boomers either die or they move out into an old lady's home or something, or old person's home, and they're going to bring their ancient furniture. And who wants it? Younger people don't want that stuff, so of course it's cheap. They're going to line up first via their FD installed. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Here's something, and it's a good observation. This is my horses versus cars observation. People always take, because they're not paying attention, they'll always take the faster and more convenient option, even if it's ultimately to their own detriment. Cars are dangerous. Far more dangerous than a horse. The only reason they pollute. They're dangerous to drive in. They're dangerous to be on the road from. They pollute the environment, and a horse is a cool animal. I don't know where I cut off. Let me see. Nope. Now they're logging me on 10 different places here. Let me cut off here. Cancel. Sorry about that. Anyone remember the last thing I was talking about that you might have heard? Let's see with the stream here. Yes, I am. What was the last thing I was talking about, Dr. Medesco, Annabelle, anyone else? So I don't repeat myself. I also don't want to miss any of your comments here. Glitch in the matrix, thumbs down. We don't hear anything. We got a crash here. Yep, I was still talking, American Supertramp. No sound here either, no sound. All right. DB772011 agreed we lived in a digital financial world. Did I cover that? Did I cover that question? Well, I guess if I can't figure out where I stopped off, I might as well stop unless somebody can help me back. Yeah, DB772011. Did I answer your question? Last words, horses are cool animals. Oh, that was a long time ago. I was talking about people would give up the horse for the car, even though horses were cool animals and so on. Annabelle, did I talk to any of your questions about how hard to escape the mark of the beast in the digital world? Did I cover any of that? I did, but I don't know if you heard it. That was the last thing, though. No. All right. Let's go back to DBCC. His last. Okay. Agreed we are in a digital financial world. My MasterCard and Visa stocks are doing well. I wish I owned more, says DBC. Annabelle then says, I agree that oppressive and exacting state systems of control over the financial activity of people has ancient provenance, but modern digital systems are harder to control or harder to escape. And on that comment, Annabelle, I mentioned that there's two ways to escape it. One is just to escape it and try to exist outside of the digital world, which is harder and harder, as you mentioned, every day. The other way is to go through this decentralized privacy type of internet, type of money, where instead of storing everything on single servers like Facebook and Google, where they can track you and basically kick you off, there's new types of digitization that allows your data to be stored on so many different computers that they really can't find out what you're doing, because honing a little piece of some data that's stored on my computer that's part and parcel of your manifesto, they'll never be able to figure out where it is and recombine it in any meaningful way. So that's something to think about, is the digital, if you're on a digital battlefield, is how to navigate that rather than bemoaning the fact that you're in a digital world. Maybe you fight fire with fire. Okay, it's mind-boggling. The prophecy and revelation, mark of the beast, buying and selling goods, scary prediction 2,000 plus years ago, says DBC 772011. To that I was talking about, yes, but again, a lot of people who cite that are neither Christian nor have read the Bible. They just see like a little piece. And it's the same with people who find quotes on Kennedy and then they just assume, some of them are fake quotes, but I like to go a little bit further into and just not just look at quotes, but of course, Revelation is an interesting final. All right. Hard to escape, much more intrusive. Yes, we covered that. No sound. Yep, no sound, no sound. Yep, Betty's still talking, says American Supertramp. Yes, I was. We got a crash here, glitch in the matrix, thumbs down. We don't hear anything. Trying to reconnect. They assumed you're rebooting. Probably no way to fight the matrix, says Annabelle, but infinitely satisfied to commit small serial subversion for the hell of it. Yes, and you can commit those subversions offline and online. That's the point I'm making. But the only way you can do it online is you have to understand it. If you just dismiss it, then you're not going to be able to know how to do that. I'm back. Crypto mugs, keep a mop handy. I don't trust high tech. Avoid the giant beast as it falls. Yep, and there were people who didn't trust cars, that's for sure. Didn't trust machines. They only trusted horses. That's natural too. Buffering, yep, that's what it was, Phineas. Last words, horses are cool animals. They are. Yep, yep. Horses are cool. Yes, horse versus car. Danger of cars. Horses are cool. Cut out. Buy. Yeah, that's the issue. When people tell me gold is money, period. It's been money for 5,000 years. That's what they used to say about horses. You know, they still have horses. Yeah, some towns have cities. New York City has it. They have the mounted police. So it's not like they've totally gotten rid of horses for useful items, but horses are now a different type of asset. I got a comment here. Let me read you this one, and I'll let you go. There was this is the kind of people are more than welcome to have whatever points of view they want to have, but this one came up. And this is the whole gold is money period. All cryptos are going to zero. Nothing to do with this. Okay, but then again, you know, they're selling gold and silver online using the entire digital system. It's all traceable. It's all trackable. So that's why I find that interesting. You use credit cards online. You buy your silver and gold online, and the people selling it to you, some of them are acting like it's the mark of the beast, and they're against it, and they're using all the digital illusions. But here's a comment I got today. Fact, all fiats go to their intrinsic value of zero. Fact, JP Morgan Chase are lawbreakers. Fact, the stock market is way, way overvalued. Fact, gold and silver are money and nothing else. I don't know. I try not to get that dogmatic about these things. Annabelle, I'm going to look into your suggestions. I think even if you're against something, it's the whole know your enemy. You need to understand this stuff. Even if you don't like it. But just dismissing it. And because when you dismiss something, it means you don't understand it, or you don't want to understand it, or you may understand it now and dismiss it, but it could develop in a way that either makes it not dismissible anymore, or in a way which you don't even understand what you're dismissing. So the idea that you're just going to dismiss and say you have integrity because you don't have cryptocurrencies, you don't know anything about them, you don't want to know anything about them, and just make bold assertions they're going to zero. I don't know. I don't think that way. Even if I don't like something, I still want to learn about it, because you need to know what you're up against if you don't like something. And if you're ambivalent on it, you need to understand it. Now, I was in the Finger Lakes recently. That's in New York State, for those you don't know. Recently, Amish and Mennonites use horse and buggy. Yes, they do. Absolutely. Hey, if you can, and there's the Shakers, there's very few of them left. I don't even think there actually are any left. But if you can live the way you want to live, perfect. But when people are online, bitching about online and the mark of the beast and digital, you're online right now. You're talking to someone you don't know. You're only doing because it's digital. Google and YouTube are recording everything that you do. And then you go online and you listen to somebody else and you buy silver or gold from them, and they're complaining about the same thing. You have to realize what you're doing. You're benefiting from it because you're enjoying it, but by the same token, you're railing against it. So, I don't know. The Amish use horses. I guess they have bank accounts, but will they ever use cryptos? I don't know what the Amish believe, so I don't know what they do. I guess if they figure I don't know what they do. We are near or at being near cashless society. Yes, and that was happening and did happen even before cryptocurrencies. Nothing to do with cryptocurrency. When was the last time somebody saw use currency grocery shopping? Yeah, occasionally I have cash and I use, and they look at me like they don't know how to make change unless it's on the transaction. Mostly made with cards, chips, phone scans, and the like. That's right, and that has nothing to do with cryptocurrency. My point about cryptocurrencies is they're going to just integrate that stuff into the payment and the banking system. All right. Well, anyway, thank you very much for letting me know that we cut off, and thanks for sticking with me tonight. And we'll be back to gold and silver and some cryptocurrencies also next week. So please join me again every night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube. And also sign up for Smaulgld.com. And if you're not that I don't really care, but if you should subscribe to this channel just because you get the alerts when we do the live streams at 8 o'clock. So you might as well click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get the alerts. And then also follow me on Minds, Gab,